See if this thing is on and working. It says I'm live, so hopefully that is true. What's going on, everybody? It's Dustin with Black and Gold Pressure Washing here. I kind of just wanted to pop on the live and give you guys a little behind the scenes of how my pressure washing business got started, when I started it, and where we're at today. And hopefully maybe give you guys some inspiration for starting your own business. I know it can be hard when you're starting out to know what to start with or where to start at. So hopefully I can give you a little bit of insight and behind the scenes of how I got started and maybe give you guys some inspiration. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. I just want to make sure and double check that I'm live on the channel before I get too deep into talking about anything. But basically my pressure washing business started as a 2 a.m. side hustle Google. You know, I was Googling side hustles when I was in college. I kind of needed some money on the side. I had just gotten into a relationship and I was working at Arby's at the time and I just wasn't making that much money. I think I had started at like $7.35 an hour working there. And I worked there like 4 years, a little too long, honestly. But I worked my way up to like $9 an hour, man. So I needed some side money and I was trying to figure out what side hustles I could do that were low barrier of entry, basically. And pressure washing was one of those that I had found. So I started doing some research on it and I actually got pretty interested in it. And this is where we're at today. So I'm going to kind of show you guys the background of like what I started with and how I got started. So I've pulled up some images of like the original. I call this the original setup. This is actually what we started with. Let me pop this other screen over. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this now. This right here is what we started with. This isn't what I started my business with, but this is what I started pressure washing with. So like I said, I was working at Arby's at the time and they had me as like a maintenance guy. So I was going to the stores and pressure washing the outside of the stores with this unit right here, man. It's like a $99 pressure washer. It's $119 today, but back then it was a little bit cheaper. It's a 1.3 gallon a minute machine. I don't know if you can see this right here, but it is a weak machine. And I was using just a wand. You plug it into the wall. It's electric. And then you would just plug this into the outlet to the garden hose, I mean. And I mean, it was so weak. But it kind of got me interested a little more into pressure washing as a whole, because a little backstory was Arby's would go in behind me, hire a professional company to pressure wash because this unit was weak. They weren't getting the results that they wanted. So they would hire a guy behind me to pressure wash. Once I took a peek at the invoice that guy was sending for those cleanings at the different locations, and it really got me interested in pressure washing as a whole, because I was like, holy cow, I saw this guy come in. He worked maybe an hour, 2 hours on the store and made, you know, my whole week's worth of wages at the time while I was working at Arby's. And it kind of got me interested in like, maybe I could do this pressure washing thing. So I started talking to the manager of Arby's at the time, and he was telling me that I needed to be licensed and insured to be able to do the pressure washing for them as a business. And so over the next year or so, I started saving money to get my own pressure washing set up and to get licensed and insured and kind of figure out what it was that I wanted to do when it came to pressure washing. And so I decided that I was going to actually give this a go. So I made my first purchase, which I pulled it up here. I tried to pull everything up to make it a little bit easier flow wise for everything. That way I'm not getting kind of like stuck on a bunch of topics. So I tried to create a little like Google, what do you want to call this? Google Chrome tab that has all the things that I kind of plan on talking about. But basically this was my first purchase. It was the Simpson pressure washer. As you can see, it said purchased back in 2019. So that is technically when I made my first pressure washing purchase. Now, what I will say is that I wouldn't recommend this unit if you're just starting out. It is a good pressure washer, but however, if you can see, it is a 2.5 gallon a minute machine. So it is not ideal, in my opinion, when it comes to pressure washing efficiently with a solid surface cleaner. you will struggle to power most surface cleaners with this pressure washer, because 4 gallons a minute is kind of the minimum you want when it comes to powering a surface cleaner. They do sell smaller heads, like a 10-inch pressure washing head that you can use, which I did end up purchasing. I think if I scroll down far enough, I can find it here. But it's basically this little head right here. Yeah, this one. See, purchased 2019. It is a 15-inch pressure washing head. So this is what I started with, and I have some material that I kind of want to show you guys. This is the first video that I made with my pressure washing business. This is me in action using my first setup. Just a little attachment surface cleaner head. As you can see, you're able to clean way faster than a wand, which is what I was doing at the time when I was working for Arby's. So this was already an upgrade for me. And I realized just how efficient having like a surface cleaner is when it comes to running a pressure washing business. So what I would recommend if you're going to be starting a pressure washing business is do your research on what surface cleaner you want to use, and make sure that the minimum amount of gallons per minute needed to power that surface cleaner is going to be sufficient for whatever machine you are buying. So if you're buying a 2.5 gallon a minute machine because of the budget that you're in, then make sure the surface cleaner that you're getting is able to be powered by it. So I started with my first mistake when I first started was purchasing the surface cleaner and the machine without doing the research of what gallons a minute the machine needed to be powered. So I bought this BE Whirlaway. It's a 20-inch surface cleaner. And if I would have done my research, if you look down here at the minimum gallons a minute on the spec sheet for the surface cleaner, you can see that 4 gallons a minute is the minimum needed. I was just starting out and I was thinking PSI is what I needed. It's got plenty of PSI. The PSI is what rotates the surface cleaner head or whatever. That is not the case. It is actually the flow. The gallons per minute is what allows for the spinning of the surface head. And so you need to make sure that whatever gallon a minute machine you're buying matches up with whatever gallon a minute machine specs are needed for powering that surface cleaner. So I hooked up this surface cleaner to that Simpson pressure washer that we were looking at, and it just was tiger striping all over, man. I couldn't get it to spin. I didn't know what I was doing. I was getting really frustrated, and I kind of felt like I had made a purchase in the wrong direction. But what can you do, man? I was already out about $1,000 after everything, and I kind of needed to just knock out some jobs and start saving money. So that is one thing that I would recommend before you make a purchase, is make sure that whatever surface cleaner you're going to use and whatever you're going to start with is sufficient enough. So you don't make the mistake I made, because I went backwards, give or take $1,500 that I could have gone in the right direction. And I would have recommended just buying like a 4 gallon a minute machine. As you can see, like this one is, I don't know if this is a true 4 gallon a minute machine. I don't know how they're the same price and the same brand. Don't ask me that question, but I will say that 4 gallons a minute is what I would recommend if you can afford it. Finding a unit for 4 GPM, that way you can go ahead and buy a BE Whirlaway surface cleaner or something along those lines and be able to clean a lot more efficiently. So I'm going to pop around and look at some of the photos of my original jobs and kind of explain the backstory behind just kind of how I got started with my first couple of jobs and how I was able to leverage that into consistent work. So, like I said, over the next year, I was kind of just saving money and trying to get legitimate as a business so that I would be able to offer my services to more legitimate clients such as Arby's. So I started with just taking some photos of doing little jobs. This is my house right here on the back. It's awful. Don't judge me. Very green, but we were able to get a result like this, our first pressure washing gig, and taking those first initial before and after photos are key to establishing yourself as a business and being able to leverage those photos into paid clients. So you want to start creating like Facebook pages and possibly a website if you can afford it, but definitely the free like Facebook pages and a Google listing for your business so that you're able to showcase your services that you offer, and people kind of know what they're getting into when you start out. So my next step was kind of making flyers and also yard signs. So as you can see, I took those first photos on that flyer right here, are these photos right here. So they're literally my first photos, and they're photos of my house. So this was free advertisement, basically. I didn't have to go do a job. I did my own place and I cleaned it, and I'm showcasing it as what I'm able to offer. And as you can see on this flyer, it's very rough. Like I said, I was just starting out, so everything is a learning curve, man. But basically we started out with like houses, driveways, sidewalks, patios, a couple before and afters, a phone number of call or text us, and a little discount. And also letting them know that we're able to offer free quotes. That paired with these yard signs are kind of how I really got started. And I'll show you over here. I pulled up my initial like Vistaprint. So I think you can see right here, this is my initial business card that I had made. And you just go to like Vistaprint, man, and you can they start with like a blank canvas, and you just kind of drag and drop your photos and everything and start making your own marketing materials. So as you can see, I started this on initial business card. I don't know if it tells me when I made this. 2019, August 2019. So I made this business card. As you can see, it has my handles for my social media, phone number, email, and then our slogan. The water's not even blue in this photo. It's purple. But you know what I'm saying? It's very rough. All you need is a way for people to be able to contact you. If you're able to offer your services, you want to be able to give them some sort of contact card, basically. And that's what a business card is. It's just an ability to bridge the gap for when they want the service, they know who to call because you've given them your contact info, basically. But yeah, I started with, it looks like 100 business cards. I paid $19. And then this is a car magnet that I put on the Explorer. Let me see if I have a photo of that. So right here, as you can see, I got these car magnets made. It's just same thing, phone number, services we offer, and the fact that we were licensed and insured, which I'm telling you, that goes a long way. Being licensed and insured can go a long way in this business. It just kind of helps you set yourself apart from your competitors when it comes to like the $99 guy that everybody talks about. You kind of want to be able to set yourself aside from the guy who's just starting out, man, to be honest. And you might just be starting out, but you kind of want to separate yourself somehow, you know, and being licensed and insured shows that you are willing to take the next step, credibility wise as a business. So people take you a little bit more seriously. But basically I got those magnets printed out, and then also these yard signs, which I did that it looks like the following year I did the yard signs. It doesn't tell me how much I spent on the yard signs. They were pretty expensive though. I want to say I got 100 yard signs made for like $300 or something like that. What's expensive is the metal like H-frame that they go in. But that being said, with these marketing materials, I went out and I put out those signs, and I got like 500 of these flyers made, and I went and put those out on all the doors in my neighborhood, to be honest. And I kind of just waited, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, if I was going to hear back from anybody. At that point, I'm out, you know, give or take $300 in marketing material. I didn't put out all my signs at first. I did 10 signs to start, to be honest, because I was scared. Personally, financially, I had just made a big investment. I wasn't trying to put out all the signs, all my money, then be taken up by code enforcement and me not be able to make any, get any phone calls from that. You know, I was scared that within a weekend I was going to lose X amount of dollars. So I put out 10 signs to start. Give me a second. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I've never really done a live like this before. So anybody that's in here, I appreciate you watching. I can see there's a couple people in here. But let me know down in the comments or in the chat what's kind of holding you guys back from starting your own business. If it's pressure washing, landscaping, whatever service business it might be, let me know kind of what the holdups are stopping you from starting that side hustle. I know that when I first started out, I was kind of scared to make that jump, especially when it came to parting with my full-time job at the time, working at Arby's, to like being on my own and being my own independent boss and having to come up with my own income. I was kind of scared to make that leap of turning the pressure washing side hustle into a full-time business. But I'm interested in kind of what's holding up everybody else, and whether it's like financially, if it's a mental thing, if it's just lack of free time. There's a bunch of different things, man, that can hold you guys up. But I kind of want to be that motivator to help anybody that's just starting out be able to bridge that gap and kind of make that leap to be your own boss and start working for yourself, man. In this economy and where we are in this day and age, man, being able to offer your own way to survive, starting your own business and being able to provide a service that people value is the key in this world, man. It'll allow you to have your own independence when it comes to scheduling, finances, a bunch of different things, man. But yeah, I just kind of want to be the inspiration for the small guys starting out, man. I know there's a bunch of businesses way bigger than me. There's a bunch of businesses that are making 6 figures a month, you know. I'm not there yet, but I'd love to grow to that point. But I'm more for the guy who's just starting out with a $99 pressure washer and wants to know how to do it. So let's kind of get back to that. Hey, I appreciate you dropping by in the chat, man. I see that you were commenting on some of my other videos. I'll have to respond to those after this live. But if you have any questions in here, I'll definitely try and get back to them. I have my little iPad down here with the chat pulled up. So if you see me looking down, I'm probably trying to read the chat or something. Like, yeah, your surface cleaner just came in and you're starting to sell door to door and get customers. You're 16 and trying to make 5K this summer. Heck yeah, brother. I wish I started when I was 16, to be honest. One of the only things I wish I had done sooner is just start, man, to be honest. If I had started back in high school, who knows where we'd be at now. But it's good to hear that you're just starting out, man. All you got to do is stay consistent and do what works. If you find something that works, just keep hitting it. If it's handing out flyers, just keep handing out flyers. If it's putting out yard signs, just keep putting out yard signs. Everybody finds a different way to market and do their marketing, especially when you're just starting out. And there's no like foolproof way. There's a bunch of different ways, and whatever way works, man, just hit it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely am unconventional when it comes to advertising. I don't really run ads, but I know that a lot of people have success running ads. And I'm about to get to a story where I did run an ad and it was successful. Yeah, running online ads is tough, man. I've only ever run one, but I did have success with it. But I was not a huge fan of running ads online. But it's something that I'm actually looking into now that I'm a little bit more established. Did I find that flyers worked well for me? Flyers were one of my first marketing materials that I put out. I think I handed out 100 flyers and I got one call. I think I got 500 flyers to start. I passed out my first 100 in the neighborhood and I got one call off of it. And that one call led to, it was a house wash and a driveway cleaning. I want to say for like $300, something like that. Don't mark me on the price, but it paid for the marketing materials already. So definitely flyers are a good way to start out. Yeah. A lot of people call me the Temu Jesus. That's what a lot of people call me. That's what my girlfriend calls me, the Temu Jesus. So. I want to figure out a way to cut this live into like a video that cuts out a lot of the back and forth banter and is just like a very informative video. Because I know some people aren't going to pop into the live and watch a lot of this, but a short formed video of this is probably going to be beneficial as well. You can't wait to get started? Heck yeah, man. I'm telling you, once you get that first job under your belt, you'll gain so much confidence. I'm going to keep flipping through some of the photos of like how I got started and stuff. So this is the first surface cleaner that I had started with. Besides that Simpson one. I bought the Simpson one after I bought this one, thinking that my pressure washer which was the 2.5 gallon a minute one that I was talking about, didn't power the surface cleaner, unfortunately. So then it sat in the garage for a while because I couldn't use it. So that is something that I would make note of and just kind of bite the bullet and buy you like a 4 gallon a minute machine. I believe that most standard size houses, the spigot flow is around 4 gallons a minute. So you shouldn't need a buffer tank or a trailer. Don't mark my words on that. I know well water can be a little lackluster when it comes to flow, but I've hooked up a 4 gallon a minute machine to a standard like house before, and I have not had issues powering a surface cleaner like this. Let's see. Do I think 15 cents a square foot is too much for just starting out? I think when you're just starting out, it depends how bad down you are for money. Let's go to my first job over here. I'll pop over to this job right here. I'll show you. Okay, this driveway right here, this lady called me based on a yard sign that I had passed out. And I ended up doing this driveway for $50 in a Google review. So like today, I wouldn't do it for $50. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much per square foot that would be, but we have a standard minimum now. However, when I was first starting out, man, like I said, this lady on the phone from a yard sign called me, wanted to know if I could do her driveway. I told her $100 at the time because I thought, okay, $100 is a good price. I didn't measure out anything, but I ended up, she ended up negotiating me down to $50 and a Google review. I told her, she asked me, she's like, oh, $50. Would you be able to do it for that? And I was like, I got to thinking, I was like, I mean, I could do it for 50. How else could I kind of wiggle some sort of value out of this for me? And so, adding that Google review. Okay, awesome. Sorry. I'm new to the whole, live stream thing. But basically this photo right here, this was my first driveway. It's dirty. But yeah, I did this for $50 in a Google review is kind of where I was getting at. So starting out, just kind of got to figure out how bad do you need the money and how bad do you want to just learn. If you don't really need the money bad, man, do your first couple of jobs for cheap, whether it's family and friends where you can do a driveway for free just to get some before and after photos, or you can do a driveway for really cheap and like a Google review, just to get those photos for marketing materials and also to be able to just gain the experience and knowledge of how long things are going to take you. When you're first starting out, this is definitely not the finished product. This was the finished product. So it's a lot better, but definitely still not up to my standard today. Back then, I still wasn't really familiar with post-treating concrete or anything like that. So a lot of this is just done with a surface cleaner. But taking this job, I was doing this job and her neighbor came over, which if you can tell, this house is the house next door, and she wanted her driveway and back patio done. So technically, that yard sign that I put out, the first initial 10 that I put out, gave me one call, which led to a Google review and $50, and then this driveway cleaning, which I believe I ended up charging like $150. And this is, let's see, this is before, and before when it comes to the back patio, we did that as well. And then this was after, and this was after. And you can kind of see in some of these, like, there's still tannin stains on the ground. Like I said, I wasn't familiar with post-treating concrete really yet. This is kind of, like I said, you want to kind of use your first couple of jobs to just learn the process, how things work, what the results are going to be, what you need to do. So what I should have been doing is going back behind with a pump up sprayer with like anywhere from a 6 to 12% sodium hypochlorite mix, and then treating this driveway at the end. And that would have lifted a lot of these like black stains that you see on the ground. However, the dramatic photo, you can see here anyway. So the before and after are clearly a good transformation. So I still ended up using this for marketing materials, but I did get called out in the comments for by a higher up pressure washing guy that I needed to be post treating my driveways. And so I went down a wormhole after that of really trying to learn the processes. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the comments. Could I expand on post treating concrete? Yeah, so Post treating the concrete is just kind of going to allow you to lift any of the remaining stains that the surface cleaner wasn't able to pick up. Sometimes the surface cleaner will leave like little streaks, tiger striping, I think is what they'll call it. If you're walking too fast, or if the concrete's just really dirty, man, sometimes it just won't fully lift everything. So you basically use the sodium hypochlorite to post treat the concrete and lift the remaining stains that might be left on the concrete, which you'll get a much better result than you see here. Not only is the concrete wet in this photo, but it is not post treated. So the results would be a lot better if I use those two methods that I now know. Let's see. Let's continue on looking through some of these photos. Okay, so this is one of my original logos. So my girlfriend Lauren had a friend who was in school for graphic design at the time. So I splurged. I took $50, which is a pretty good deal for a logo. And she was able to make this logo. And then let me see. I have another photo. This logo right here. These are my initial logos for my company, which is a play on the college that I went to, which was UCF. I was trying to brand myself as like the hometown team when it came to pressure washing. So I think I pulled up the UCF tab. But yeah, if you kind of see like our branding / color scheme is similar to UCF without copying them. But I kind of just wanted to hit on people's subconscious when it came to where we operate and do business, which it has led to some business, I will say, branding similar to a bigger brand, kind of, or hitting that hometown hero thing is really what has helped me. UCF slogan is like the hometown team, and I try and be that for the pressure washing. And so you can see the UCF logo has kind of got the knight, and that's kind of where our logo is kind of based off of. And this was a rough draft that we spent like $50 on, but I was able to use this and put it on my marketing material, which added credibility to my business as a whole. So I would say go to like Fiverr or something along those lines where you can, let me pull this up really quick. I can show you. If we go to like something like Fiverr, you can get people to make like logos for you for cheap. Let's see how cheap we can get a logo made. But like $15 for like a minimal logo, you know, and you don't need much. Like some of these are crazy, but like $20 for a logo, you know what I'm saying? But then you can slap this on your flyers. You can slap it on your yard signs, your business cards, all that. Okay. Continuing on. Let's see. Making sure we're not missing anything. This is what we started with. So I just want to recap that we're starting at Arby's with this. They were coming in behind me, hiring a company, which gave me the inspiration to get legitimized as a business. I bought my first setup, which was a Simpson one. I wasn't doing any Arby's jobs at the time, but I was able to kind of get my foot in the door when it came to pressure washing. Then let's pop back over to some of the photos. Then we bought that Simpson pressure washer. This is Roscoe right here. You guys might see him every now and then in some of the videos. Do I have a link of that logo? The logo wouldn't really help you. I could link you like the Fiverr link to like somebody that would make a logo for you. You could even probably use ChatGPT, man. I'm going to make a couple videos on how I use like ChatGPT and AI to do a lot of the dirty work when it comes to the creativity of the business and like the roadmap and guideline and spreadsheets. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can use ChatGPT and AI for that takes a lot of the dirty work out of operating your business. But that's probably for another live that I'll probably end up doing that. I kind of just wanted to recap kind of how we got started and where, kind of how everything is panning out. I kind of have a checklist over here of what I wanted to talk about. So I mentioned how we got started at Arby's. why I got started, which was the side hustle, making some side money. And I want to show you the photos of this. Was the pressure washer, came in the box, had to put it together. At the time I was actually driving a car. I would take apart the pressure washer, as you can see, and fit it in the back of an Acura TL. So it's not a big vehicle at all. But it kind of just shows that you can make it work if you want it bad enough, man. You don't need to worry about being the guy that pulls up with the wrap truck, an F-250. You have the nice $20,000 setup. Like, you can literally start with a cheap pressure washer, some hard work, and a little bit of elbow grease. You know what I'm saying? Lifting this pressure washer out of this car was backbreaking, but the fact that it fit in my car was all I needed to know that I was headed in the right direction, you know? And I didn't have the car for long. After that, I ended up with the Explorer that y'all see me driving in the videos nowadays. But I started with pulling it out of the back of the TL, man. And this is my driveway with the little pressure washer. I hadn't even fired it up yet. Little did I know that it wasn't going to be strong enough to do what I wanted, but that is a learning lesson. Here's a photo of me cleaning my driveway for the first time. This is before I even had a surface cleaner. So I was still using the wand, going back and forth. And I don't know if you guys have seen my driveway, but it's pretty long. So it took forever. But like I said, just getting my foot in the door with a more powerful machine, going from that Arby's $99 pressure washer was 1.3 gallons a minute, man. So I started with 1.3 gallons a minute to this is 2.5 gallons a minute. You know what I'm saying? And now I use an 8-gallon a minute machine. But I would recommend, if I were starting out again, to just go ahead and start with like a 4-gallon. You don't need the 8, but I would start with a 4 because you want to kind of skip this 2.5 gallon step. It's just not enough flow when it comes to powering a surface cleaner that is worth using. Sweet dude, I have a Subaru Legacy and was nervous about it fitting in there. Yeah, man, if you can figure out a way to, like, you see I had to take off the handle of the pressure washer here just to make it fit, and I would put it on the side right here. But yeah, you'll make it work, man. You'll figure it out. But basically I went from that to the logo, magnets. Here's the yard signs originally, to the Explorer. So we're at the Explorer, and I would pack it up in here. Everything, as you can see, would fit quite nice, but I'm still pulling everything out of the back of the SUV. I wasn't feeling too confident trying to offer my services to the commercial clients that I was trying to get in with, such as Arby's and property management companies. But I was gaining confidence when it came to doing flat work driveways, cleaning vertical surfaces, like houses and fences, and just kind of gaining confidence behind the wand. So I did that for, I want to say, about a year. Just yard signs, flyers, word of mouth. And I was saving up all my money at the time because I wasn't, I hadn't parted ways with Arby's yet, and I was able to pay the bills. So I was just stacking my money so that I could save for a better setup, that I would be able to build myself and feel confident in my own skin when it came to trying to take on the clientele that I was looking to build. Like I said, I got inspired from the guy who was cleaning Arby's at the time, and I kind of wanted to frame my business around more commercial work. So that's kind of where I was at. You have a Toyota Camry. What is the 4-gallon a minute machine that I recommend? Let's see. I haven't ever really sourced a 4-gallon a minute machine. I've rented a couple before. Let's see if we can find one. I've rented a couple pressure washer machines. I'm trying to see if they have one. Yeah, I've rented something similar to this. Which I haven't had any issues with, which is just going to be a Honda engine, I believe. I don't know what size Honda. It's a GX 390. But 4-gallon a minute machine that you would be able to hook up to a water spigot. I would recommend a Honda. That's what I run with. I've honestly thought about buying a 4 gallon a minute machine because I've had to rent one of these. Probably like give or say 10 times now, and it would almost been worth it for me to just buy one at this point. You can see they're a little pricey at $1,700, but I mean that paired with a surface cleaner and like maybe an XJet or something where you can soft wash is really all you need to conquer about 99% of the jobs. And this $1,700, man, look at it as an investment in yourself. You're going to be able to make that money back pretty quick. Within the first like couple months or couple jobs even, you should be able to make this money back. So you will be in the hole to start out. But if you have confidence in yourself and your abilities and the desire to want to achieve whatever that goal is, this shouldn't deter you really. You can start with like a low interest credit card or some sort of funding. I did a 0 interest credit card. I think for like 18 months, and I put everything that I purchased on that card, and then that gave me 18 months to pay it off before I was even charged any interest. So even if you don't have the upfront capital, you can find a way to get that money. Let's see where we're at. Looks like it'll fit in the Yoda. Yeah, this one's good too because it's on wheels. Some of the ones that they sell are like platform based, kind of like this, where you would mount it on a trailer or like a truck. But I would recommend getting one with wheels if you're just starting out and not going to have a trailer, just so you can kind of wheel it around whatever property that you're on or working with. Okay, let's see where we're at. So we talked about our first paid job, which we leveraged into a $50 payment and a Google review. And then we talked about our branding, getting a logo made, slapping it on yard signs with our before and after photos. Not on the yard signs, but on the marketing materials like the flyers and stuff. On the yard signs, I just had my phone number and my logo. But on the marketing materials, I had like before and after photos, like the flyers. Also, like your Facebook posts, stuff like that, you'll want to show some before and after photos. That's what I'm telling you. Some of the first jobs, man, don't even worry about how much you're charging. Just get those photos. I appreciate y'all stopping by in the chat. I see there's like 8 people in here. That's the most. This is my second time going live, so it's the most people I've had. I think the first live I didn't have anybody pop in. I was just giving a little rough tour of the trailer on my phone, but I see that there's a couple people in here, so I appreciate y'all stopping by. And drop in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try and answer what I can. Another thing that I wanted to ask y'all guys was just like to drop the biggest obstacle that you guys have been facing when it comes to like starting your business. I'm just interested in what's hanging up everybody, because that'll give me a good idea when it comes to making a video of like what's holding people up from just getting started. All right, let's continue on with our story timeline now. So, we were pulling it out of the back of this Explorer. Okay. Now, speaking of making posts online, so I started a Facebook page for the business that first year, where I was uploading before and after photos, and I decided that I was going to try and run my first ad online. And so I went ahead and I slapped together some photos and I made my first ad online for Facebook. And you can kind of set like how much you were willing to spend. And I think I set it at a limit of $20. And I think you were paying for the leads. It wasn't guaranteed how many leads you would get. It might have been clicks, to be honest, not even leads. But I've only ever run one online ad, but I will say I spent $20 on it and it led to this job right here, which ended up being a pool deck, a pool screen, and a driveway. So I spent $20 and I think I ended up for this job, I think I charged like $400 or something like that. So a $20 Facebook ad turned into a $400 job, also before and after photos. And it kind of helped me gain confidence when it came to like being a brand online and being a business online and being able to leverage yourself and your online presence to make real world money. So that is something that definitely helped when I was first starting out my first year. At the time, I don't even think I don't want to say I had insurance. I'm not 100% sure. Do I have insurance now? AK asks. Yes, I have general liability insurance for the LLC so that I am able to work with commercial clients. So you need like I believe it's a $2 million policy, something like that. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's $2 million, which seems like a lot, but monthly it's not too bad. But yeah, you're able to use that insurance and being licensed and insured to leverage yourself for more commercial work, which is kind of where I wanted the business to go. I found out that I wasn't a huge fan of doing individual homeowners like this, taking my pressure washer in and out of my car, having to set a time where the homeowner was going to be home to collect payment. Homeowners can be a lot more particular with their properties. They like to talk a lot. They like to watch things. That's not a bad thing. It's just not how I wanted to shape my business. I kind of wanted my business to be in and out. I show up, I get the job done, I leave. And there's not a lot of back and forth or in between when it comes to scheduling and getting paid. So those were the main reasons on why I wanted to go more the commercial route than the like residential homeowner route, if that makes sense. Chris says you need money and good credit for when you're starting out. When it comes to getting a credit card, I'll say yes, you probably do need good credit. Or some sort of capital, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how your relationships are with your family and stuff like that, but I mean, sometimes you can ask a family friend. It depends, you know. Leverage doing their property, you know, for free. I don't know. Different ways you can brainstorm to come up with some side money though. But yeah, if you have good credit, man, you should be able to get a 0 interest credit card, and hopefully the limit's enough to at least buy the bulk item. I know when I first started out, my credit limit on my first card was like, I want to say it was like $3,000 or $4,000, something like that, which was just enough to buy the big 8-gallon a minute pressure washer, but nothing else. So basically, one credit card went to buying the pressure washer, but I was able to pay that off before interest started occurring. So it was a way for me to front the cost of a portion of the business without having to come out of pocket so much. Okay. But I went from, these are some of the results of that job right here. Not my best work, but I was able to get it clean. The customer was happy. I got a review from it. And like I said, I turned a $20 ad into a $400 payment. So that was another way. So I made some money on a yard sign. Then I made some money on a Facebook ad. I did friends and family along the way. I traded for Google reviews. And then also this house right here was off of a flyer. As you can see, it's just dirty in the back. I've cleaned this house. I have a couple videos of cleaning this house. This was my first ever customer in my own neighborhood from passing out flyers. I think I have a video. I'll maybe link it after this of me doing a roof wash and a house wash this year, which would have been my 4th time now cleaning this house. So one good thing about having a client is usually that you can keep the client as long as you are providing quality work. So if you're able to leverage your, what am I trying to say? Your services and your abilities to maintain the relationship with the client, you can pretty much hold jobs for a while. Like I said, I've been cleaning this house for going on 6 years now. I've washed the house 3 times. I've done the driveway 2 or 3 times, and I've cleaned the roof once. So, I mean, this one flyer technically has turned into like, you know, over $1,000 worth of work over the years. But think about if you hand out flyers all the time and you grow your business and you start to maintain those clients and build a relationship and reach out every year. The initial costs for those advertising materials dwindle away, man, and it's worth it. you're kind of basically using the advertising to gain the client off the rip. And then going forward after that, you'll be able to maintain that client as long as you're providing quality services. I know I repeat myself quite a bit, but I'm just kind of trying to hit home the points that I was trying to make during this live. So if I repeat myself a couple times, I apologize, but trying to make sure I don't forget anything. If you guys are finding value in these lives, go ahead and let me know down in the comments and like the video if you don't mind. And I'll try and start going live a lot more frequently, kind of just showing you day to day with the business, because I'm still in the process of growing my own business, pressure washing wise, with the YouTube channel as well. So I want to kind of take you guys along the journey and growing the business. So that's what hopefully I'll be able to use these lives for. Let's see. Leo says he built a 3K trailer with a 4-gallon Honda, and I'm just now starting off on my services. Any tips for getting new customers? If you look back in this live, I've dropped a few tips. If you watch the video back when it's over, there's a few tips at the beginning of the live. But I can keep circling back just quickly on certain things. But yard signs, flyers, Facebook ads are really what I started with. Friends and family, just passing those around the neighborhood and letting people know that you offer pressure washing services, and then leveraging that for reviews, before and after photos, and experience really is kind of how you get started. That's a quick rough draft. Do I live when I'm washing? I've thought about going live when I'm pressure washing, but I don't know how well the like signal will be on the job. I don't know if it'll be really choppy in the video. Right now I'm at the house. So here, I can pop this back up so y'all can see me. But right now I'm at the house, so I have good internet connection. When I'm live out using my phone, I don't know how well the cellular connection will be. I've thought about getting some sort of hotspot or something, but I do film all my videos full process. If you check out my channel, I have the full process of the videos. Majority of my jobs, I try and film all the way through from start to finish. I don't really cut anything other than like changing the batteries out on the camera. That way you guys can kind of see the full process of how I do the job, how I start it, before and after photos, the flow, the method, the process, filming the shorts, all that stuff. So if you check out my channel, you can definitely see some videos. But I do want to go live when I'm pressure washing. I feel like that would be entertaining, except it's really loud. So that's another thing I haven't been able to figure out, is how I would go live, but it not just be really loud when it comes to the surface cleaner and the pressure washer. So I got to think about like a way to like overlay maybe like lo-fi music or some way to drown out the sound of the machines because it's quite loud. Matthew says, "Hey, look at that play button." Yes, sir. The play button right over here is actually for Roscoe. He's not right here right now. I actually have a Roscoe cam. I could pop it up really quick. Usually if Roscoe's right here, I have a little Roscoe cam. But yeah, he's a golden retriever who has a YouTube channel that's bigger than mine, unfortunately. So I'm trying to grow my channel to catch up. Chris says, "I miss what you said, what you use for treating the cement after washing." I just use sodium hypochlorite, which is basically just bleach. Let's see if we can look it up. And whoever was asking about the 4-gallon a minute machine, this is the one that we were just looking at right here, the portable one. But sodium hypochlorite is what we use, which is just bleach. I was hoping I would be able to show you how it comes. When I started with the pump up sprayer, I was getting my bleach from a pool supply store. Trying to see if I can show you what container it was coming in. But they were coming in like little 2.5 gallon containers. Let's see any right here. Kind of like this. Yeah, these jugs are here. Basically, and I would pour this into a pump up sprayer, and then I would post treat the driveway. But you can go to the pool supply store because they use the same chemical and buy these for like, I want to say it's like $6, No, it's probably like $4 a gallon. $4 per 2.5 gallons. No, that doesn't seem right. I think it's like $3 to $4 a gallon. It's pretty expensive, to be honest, compared to buying it in bulk. But when you're just getting started, you know, you don't really need that much to post treat a driveway either. Like one of these containers and a pump up sprayer is enough to post treat a driveway. So I would usually run with like 4 containers of these because I was only doing a driveway here or there. So you didn't need that much. So you can start out with just maybe like 4 of these jugs at the pool supply store, and then like 1 gallon or 2 gallon pump up sprayer. Let's look up pump up sprayer. You don't need anything crazy either. Just like I started with like this. It was like $20. You can even get them cheaper, $15 at Lowe's. Let's see, what comments did I miss? Did I build my trailer? Connor asks. Yeah, I did build my trailer. I built my trailer in 2021. So what we've been covering over the past hour is how I got started prior to the trailer, which was this 1 gallon a minute machine while I was working at Arby's. And then we went to this 2.5 gallon a minute Simpson machine. And I did that for a year. And that was in 2019, as you can see. And then I saved money to build my trailer, which is where the story is leading. So let me get back to where we started. Here's a photo. Let me switch over to here. Oh, sorry. I had the scene up. I kind of forget to switch my scenes, man. Do I get more views / interactions on your shorts or regular videos? I definitely get more views on my shorts, but I think that's because, let me pop this back up. I think I get more views on my shorts because you're just already in the algorithm. You're in the feed. You're going to be shown. You don't have to be clicked on like a normal video. But I would say that the long form videos have more value when it comes to being a channel. You can leverage the shorts to gain an audience when it comes to subscribers and when it comes to overall views and maybe getting monetized. But when it comes to being monetized and making money, the shorts aren't nearly as valuable as the long form videos. So I kind of try and have a blend of both because I'm trying to still build an audience. I still make shorts. However, I would prefer if the audience that I'm building watches my long form content, if that makes sense. Okay, let me pop back over to the screen page now, so y'all are able to see. I'm just reading some of y'all's comment. What's my dog's YouTube page? Let me see if I can tag it right here. It's at Golden Life of Roscoe. I'm trying to type in the comments right here for y'all. See if it'll come through. Okay. That's Roscoe's YouTube channel if anybody wants to go follow that. When he comes and lays down over here, I'll pop him up on the camera so y'all can see him. That's why I have this little extra webcam down here. Have I cleaned a roof with a pump-up sprayer? Actually, I have. I've cleaned a roof with a pump-up sprayer. I want to say like my first 2 or 3 roofs. At the time, I didn't have one of these little pump-up sprayers though. I think you can see it on the screen right here. I ended up buying one of those backpack pump-up sprayers. I think it was like, it held like 5 gallons or 4 gallons, something like that. And then I did like a 6% mix. So if your bleach comes at like 12.5, I cut half of it with water. And then I went up on the roof with the backpack pump up sprayer and I cleaned the roof with it, you know, so you can do it. Hey, I appreciate you dropping by, Chris, man. I try and go in live a little bit more often, more frequently. So hopefully you'll pop back by and I can answer some more questions anybody has. But I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thanks for the support, homie. All right, let's see. What other questions? But yeah, so this is my first commercial job that I did with my 2.5 gallon a minute machine for Arby's as a licensed and insured company. So this is still before I had built my trailer, but I was licensed and insured and had secured my first commercial client. The only way I was really able to get this commercial job avenue wise is because I had already worked for them and I had built a relationship with the um area supervisors, what they call them, but basically like the regional manager. Um, and like I said, he had told me if I had gotten legit with my company, licensed and insured, that they would go ahead and use me. So I had bought what I thought was more professional equipment. I got licensed and insured. We did a vendor agreement that I'll get into talking about. And then I started cleaning the Arby's locations. They had 16 locations in the greater Orlando area. And we started cleaning those on like a quarterly basis. And I did that for 2 or 3 rotations before that area supervisor ended up taking a job at Chipotle in a different state. So I actually lost that connection. And then Arby's ended up franchising out those stores. They were corporate stores. They franchised them out. So I technically lost that contract, but it got my foot in the door for commercial work and allowed me to also keep stacking my cash and think about building myself a trailer. So if you look at some of these other photos, these were our business cards that we started with. And then the new ones that we ended up making, a lot more clean, simplified. Our actual logo, our slogan, minimal details. Let's see what else. Okay, now we're getting to where we bought the trailer. So this was in 2021 that I was able to start thinking about building a pressure washing trailer. And I needed something that would fit into my garage. So I have a strict HOA where I live, and we were not able to have commercial vehicles or trailers in our driveways. So I needed something that I was going to be able to park in the garage out of sight from the HOA. So instead of, I was doing research, and if you look in Google, like 6x12 tandem axle trailers, a bunch come up. But 6x12, I did the measurements, wouldn't fit in my garage. So I had to have something custom made. So the trailer that you see in the photos that I'm going to show you is actually a 6x10. So if you cut off about 2 feet right here, it's definitely just a shortened version of a 6x12 trailer. And that's simply so that it can fit in the garage. Let's get back to our photos. But here's the trailer pulled in the garage. But see it, I mean, give or take a foot or two. The 6x12 for sure wasn't going to fit. I measured a bunch of times because that's a trailer I wanted, but I wasn't going to be able to get it. But I'm glad that I measured prior to, so that I didn't buy it and then screw myself because it wouldn't fit. You can see right here, my garage door is like, the spring is kind of broken. Still broken. Emery Patikin asks, what is soft wash and how to use it? I might make another video on what soft washing is and how to use the systems. This video is kind of like how I got started, but I'd be happy to answer that question for you. I have a couple videos on soft washing. If you look around on my channel. Otherwise, I'll definitely go live and make a video on my soft wash system, how to use it, how to meter the different chemical ratios, stuff like that. AK says, I don't have a soft wash system. Thoughts on a basic 12 volt? Definitely go with a 12 volt system. I thought about doing like the gas. They have the gas powered like soft wash units. I've always heard they're a little too much flow, especially when you're just doing like, I'm telling you, roofs and house washes for the most part. 12 volt system is solid, man. That's what I've used. Just I think it's a Delavan 5.5 gallon a minute. I can pull it up here. It might be an Everflow. I'll have to go check. Let me look. 12 volt pump. It is an Everflow that I use. I basically use this pump right here. But yeah, this thing can make you a ton of money. They don't last that long. I mean, even when you're rinsing them out, I mean, they last a couple months. So it is something that you're going to have to purchase over and over again. And I always keep one in my trailer just as a backup. That way I can swap it out if it craps out on the job and I don't have to use a pump up sprayer. Because once you upgrade from using a pump up sprayer to like a 12-volt soft wash system, you're not going to want to go back just for the efficiency of being able to apply the chemical. It's just too nice, man. What tips do I use for soft washing? You guys are giving me really good ideas for videos. I wish I could save these comments. Over here, I'm gonna make a Google Doc really quick and copy and paste a lot of the questions that you guys are asking. That way I can go live talking about those individual topics. Let me open up. This is gonna get Inception-y really quick. Or maybe I can pull it over here so you don't have to see it. I'm going to pull up my channel over here so I can have y'all's chat. That way I can copy and paste the chat. Okay. So I have it pulled up now. All right, I got y'all's questions. So I'm going to copy some of these questions and definitely going to end up making a video for you guys on a lot of these topics that you guys have asked, because I've been wanting some guidance when it comes to like what questions people are having and what content to make around my business. And a lot of it is like you guys being where I was a couple years ago and getting started. And I had the same problem where I just couldn't find answers to the questions that I was having. And I was having to do a lot of like dirty work when it came to research and sourcing a bunch of different materials from a bunch of different people. So hopefully we can kind of bridge that gap here, and I'll be able to make a bunch of this content that you guys are having questions about. What am I missing? Oh yeah, what tips do I use? Okay. So I've got a lot of your comments pulled up over here. Let's keep on with keeping on though. So I went and I bought that blank trailer. See where we're at here. Okay. So I went and bought the blank trailer, and then I had to start doing a lot of research on how the pressure washing systems work as a whole when it comes to plumbing and electrical, so that I knew what I was getting into when it came to actually building and plumbing the trailer. Because it's a lot different than just hooking your hose up to the house and then to your pressure washer and then the hose to your surface cleaner. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more involved because you're basically making it portable and compact and fixed. So it is going to be set in stone once you mount it wherever you mount it on the trailer. So layout, plumbing, all that is important and it has to be thought about. Okay. So we started working on the trailer. If you look at this trailer, there wasn't a place for hose reels to be mounted. So I was going to have to build my own like rack for the hose reels to be mounted, which as you can see, I ended up, somebody made a comment about it, but it is what it is, brother. He was kind of a little bit of a hater. He's kind of, I took it as hate that the way I have my hose reel set up is clunky because I use like an aluminum, I don't know what you call it. He called it a channel across these 4x4s. But I made it work. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a welder. I don't know how to weld. I didn't have the money to hire a welder. So I was on a budget, man. And so I made what I could to make it work. And I was able to keep it within the profile of the trailer. And it actually ends up being very beneficial because all this storage area under these hose reels is where I hold my wands, my boots, any little extras, batteries, stuff like that. So it ended up working out the way I laid it out. But I mean, this took a lot of planning. I'm going to pull up I'm just going to flip through a lot of my source material quickly to show you what I started with when it comes to just guidance wise on plumbing the system and building the system and stuff. So these are just chemical mixture diagrams for when you would be like downstreaming using like an XJet or something like that. What are okay, here we go. Diagrams for the systems themselves, understanding kind of how they worked when it came to like how water is drawn from the tank. What is a buffer tank? How does a buffer tank work? What type of battery is it? How to wire a switch? How to wire a fuse? How to connect everything and make it flow? Drilling holes, you know, like little things that there's a lot of little stuff that you have to get into when it comes to building your own trailer versus just buying it and picking it up. But I will say the benefit is you know your trailer in and out once you've built it. You know how it works, how to do it again. You'd be able to do it again. You'd be able to maintain it if anything went wrong on it. And it's just set up the way you wanted it to a T, you know? So I would recommend building my own if I were you, just because you'll know your system better and how everything works. I think that if you bought it yourself, there's going to be a lot of like troubleshooting when it comes to like if something goes wrong, what it could be. So I use a lot of these diagrams to basically gain some inspiration. I was just looking at truck wraps and tips for surface cleaners, layouts for like diaphragm systems. I wasn't sure which soft wash system I was going to go with, whether it was 12 volt, whether it was an air compressor, whether it was a gas powered soft wash system, but just kind of understanding the flow of how everything works in the systems was kind of my next step over that year before I built my trailer, so that I had a lot of understanding before I built it. That way I wasn't having to rely on somebody to build it for me. But like I said, it was a lot of dirty work when it came to sourcing a lot of these materials, because you can't find everything in one place. So I'm hoping over the next couple of years, I can build this channel out to be a source for these type of materials, where you're able to understand how to even build your own trailer when you get to that point. After you've done the pump up sprayer and pulling it out of your trunk, now you want to build a trailer. Let me show you how. So hopefully we can get to that point. AK says, forget that hater, looks great. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, my first trailer, I will say, for what I started with, I have a couple photos of the process, but to what it turned out, I'm pretty satisfied, man. Like the layout, I really enjoy. Here's my girl right here with the trailer once we kind of got everything mounted. See, I still didn't even have a soft wash system yet. I didn't have my vertical bleach tank here yet. I was still using pump up sprayer, no soft wash hose, nothing plumbed up for a soft wash system, just my garden hose to my tank and my high pressure hose from the pressure washer. But I did jobs like that for a while until I was able to save up for the vertical tank. Then I was able to save up for the 12 volt. Then I was able to save up for the soft wash hose. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of this just comes in segments of affordability, whether you need to finance it, save for it, whatever it is. Sometimes you can't do everything all at once. You know what I'm saying? You might have the capital for parts and pieces, but just make sure whatever you end up buying, you have enough to get some functionality out of it. You wouldn't want to just buy the trailer and then not have anything. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to buy the trailer and the pressure washer and the tank and those things. That way you're able to stay on path when it comes to investing in yourself. If you make an investment, but it doesn't pan out when it comes to value, then you're not investing your money in the, I guess, right way. I don't know how I'm trying to say that, but my example being that pressure washer that I bought that Empower my surface cleaner. I went $1,000 this way when I was trying to go this way. You know what I'm saying? So the trailer was an investment, so I went back this way, but it's made me a ton of money going this way now, so it was worth it. So if you're thinking about making an upgrade to a trailer or a setup like this where you have a buffer tank, I say go for it. I would do a 4-gallon or 8-gallon mini machine. So let me keep flipping through some of these photos. But I ended up using these on my website as well, just to add, like I said, credibility. Now I'm no longer the guy that's pulling it out of his trunk that I was embarrassed by. Not embarrassed by, let me not say that. That I lacked confidence in myself because I was pulling it out. And I was seeing guys on Facebook and YouTube with these $40,000 trailers, and they were pulling stuff, you know, with F-250 and a nice truck. And I didn't have that. I was a guy pulling my pressure washer out of the Acura TL until I got the Explorer. But point being, now you can kind of use your trailer as a marketing material, whereas beforehand, I kind of hid how I did the process. I only showed the results. Now I can kind of show the equipment that we're using to leverage professionality when it comes to our business. AK says, walk us through what you need to take the step from pressure washing on the side to quitting your job and doing it full time. Give me 1 second. I'm running out of water over here. I wasn't planning on this live going this long. I just was planning to fire it up and talk about how I got started and kind of see where it went from there. We're still kind of on how I got started. I just want to lead up all the way until I've covered like taking on our first commercial job with our new trailer. That's kind of what I wanted to encapsulate in today's video. But yeah, so how I knew when to part ways with the Arby's job and just go full time with pressure washing, I didn't really know, man. I was floating the idea of quitting the job for like a year, but I was too scared to make the leap because I wasn't quite making enough pressure washing to subsidize the income that I was making at Arby's, even though I was only making like $9 an hour. I was kind of scared to make that jump, but I got to a point where some jobs and scheduling wise was being overshadowed by the schedule that I was working fast food. And like I said, I was making $9 an hour working at Arby's, passing up on $100 an hour driveways. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to the point where I was having to pass up on opportunities that I didn't want to pass up on because of a job that was kind of holding me back. And so at that point, I just kind of had to make the leap and go from working and doing this as a side hustle to just going all in on this and not making as much as I was at Arby's, to be honest. But I was making enough to get by and commit myself full time to growing this business and not having to divvy up my time between a job that's taken me this way and a journey that I want to go and a path that's taken me that way. So you kind of just have to make a judgment call of finances. Can you afford to quit? Do you have a lot of bills and overhead that you need to make up for? Are your expenses low enough to where you can supplement with other things such as DoorDash or other side hustles to where you can make the pressure washing your main hustle? It's all just a judgment call of like, can I sufficiently make a livable wage based on my expenses? You know, if you can keep your overhead low and your expenses really low, then you don't need as much income to make it all happen as, say, somebody who bought a $40,000 trailer and a $40,000 truck with a car payment and a trailer payment. You have a lot more overhead, so you got to make a lot more money. So you might not be able to quit your other job first. So hopefully that answers that question. Yo, it's Trevor says, oh snap, he's live. What's going on, Trevor? Appreciate you popping in, man. Yeah, this is my second live ever, so it's a little clunky, but I'm trying to just cover the overall how I got started from just Googling side hustles at 2 a.m. to a $99 pressure washer working at Arby's to a $800 pressure washer doing driveways, leveraging that into building my own trailer and starting my own commercial pressure washing business. And that's kind of where we're at today and what we're talking about right now. So if you want to pop back and watch back some of the live, we cover in depth a lot more of those things. Otherwise, once this live is over, it'll turn into a video and you can watch back and you can just tag along with where we're at right now, man. Yeah. Not always the best to straight up quit your job. Got to use wisdom in that. For sure, man. Do not quit your job if you are not prepared to be broke. if you're not prepared to not make any money for a couple months, whether that's a slow season during the winter or like jobs just aren't coming in based on the way you're marketing, you got to be prepared to float for a couple months without making money. And if your overhead is not, like if you have too big of an overhead, then sometimes you're not able to do that. And I wouldn't recommend quitting your job. At the time I quit my job, I didn't have a car payment, didn't have a trailer payment, anything like that. I saved up to be able to purchase the trailer. Like I said, I financed some of the things with a 0 interest credit card. So I was able to keep my overhead pretty low. I think at the time when I quit my business, my pressure washing business was making around $30,000 a year or something like that. So, I mean, it wasn't anything it wasn't financially a ton of money, you know, but it was enough for me to quit making $9 an hour to go make $100 an hour pressure washing. I don't know if y'all can hear Roscoe over here. I think he wants to go outside, but we'll let him out here in a minute. Hey, can you say hi to the camera? Oh, I don't think my webcam camera's working anymore. Man, I was going to show y'all Roscoe. Okay. Okay. Where are we? Yo, I appreciate you, Trevor, saying you love the channel, man. Connor asks, any chance I could show what tips we use for soft washing? I think I have. Hey. Let's see. All right, sorry about that. I need to figure out if I can show you what tips I use for soft washing. I had a tab pulled up that had my inventory list. We use a J-Rod. I don't know if that'll have it. We basically use something like this. I can't tell you the specific tips unless I go outside. After this video, maybe I'll comment on this video and let you know what tips. But basically we use this J-Rod, and then you would size it up with what tips you're using for the soft wash, or if you're going to use it for your pressure washer, you would use different tips. So I have tips for my soft wash system. I'll have to link that for you later though, brother. How do I get most of my jobs? Just curious. Right now, most of my jobs come from just work orders from like my commercial clients, like property management companies for the most part. I don't do many homeowner clients anymore when it comes to like flyers and door-to-door knocking and stuff like that. However, it is something that I'm going to branch back out into again, because now that I have the commercial side of my business a lot more solidified with how I obtain clients and where I'm going with that side of the business, there's a huge gap in how much money I can be making if I went back to utilizing some of those original marketing materials, such as the flyers and the yard signs and stuff like that, because they do work, and the Facebook ads and the Google ads, they all work. I just have a little bit more money to throw at them now that I didn't have originally. So it is something that I'm going to get back into now that I've established my business as a commercial business. So that's something that I hope that you guys can grow with me with my business, is that I'm still relatively new when it comes to the advertising, running Google ads, putting out flyers and yard signs. Like, it's how I got started, but then I pivoted immediately to commercial work and I haven't really gone back since. And now I'm at the point where I want to go back, and now I want to make content around that as well, so that we can all kind of start from scratch. And if you were to start a business, you can pick right up with me, and it's not something that seems like unattainable. Some people are out there doing like, 6-figure months and stuff like that, and that's realistically not where anybody's at. That's not where I'm at. And I'm trying to just make more relatable content when it comes to this business, because I want people to start their own small business, man. Being your own boss is what it's all about. So if I can inspire somebody to start from scratch and be their own boss, whether it's with a $99 pressure washer or a $10,000 trailer, hopefully y'all can gain some inspiration and some guidance, and we can all teach each other something to help us all grow. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's keep flipping through some of these photos and see where we are at. Okay, let me make sure that this popped back over in my OBS. There we go. Getting thirsty here. I need to go get some water here in a second. Okay, and I think that, okay. And then we got to our first commercial job at Arby's with our trailer after going from this right here, my little pressure washer, and doing it for $50 in a Google review, pulling it out of the back of the car, to doing an Arby's job with it, to building a trailer, to pulling up to our first commercial job with the new trailer, which was just like a really good moment for myself as a business, and mentally as a good like check mark for we're doing all right, we're on the right path, and we've got some comfortability in the industry now. This is all before I was filming content. I was taking photos and stuff for before and after, but I don't have many moments filmed from this time of my business, which I really wish I did looking back on it now. But hopefully I can just talk you guys through and use the photos to talk about some of those things. And then this was our original like video, my first rollout of the trailer, going down the driveway. So like I said, that was a big moment for me. I use that as marketing materials for my business to show that we had a trailer and legitimize ourselves a little bit more. But like here's like a dilution chart. I was using like a lot of this stuff I didn't use, but it just is kind of, you want to inform yourself on pressure washing as an industry and as a whole and how it works before you just jump in and start offering it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you plan on actually starting a legitimate business that you plan on growing, and maybe one day being able to sell, or maybe one day being able to offer services for people or commercial jobs or whatever I'm trying to say is you want to inform yourself on the industry. So familiarize yourself with the equipment that's used, the different levels of equipment, commercial versus residential, what's needed, all those things, man. You can never know too much, but I can say that sometimes being in some of those Facebook groups, you can get overwhelmed with the wrong information. I think a lot of people are just giving their 2 cents, and you have to take it as 2 cents and not take it as the whole dime. You know what I'm saying? Take some of the things that they're saying, apply them to yourself, ignore the things that don't apply to you. And yeah, basically just, you want to say self-informed as well, not just rely on other people. Just looking at some of the original setups that we were looking at. Surface cleaners, electric hose reels, the wiring of how things are set up. All this is just photos that I gathered for when I was going to build my trailer. I just kind of wanted to know, how do I rig a battery? How do I wire a battery? What's a fuse? What's a switch? How does it plumb? How to make it fit? What's a fitting? What's a hose clamp? All those things, man. Bunch of little stuff, you know what I'm saying? Here's another good dilution chart if you're starting out, and based on your tank size and how much bleach you're mixing and stuff like that. Trevor asks, what are the requirements to getting into commercial? I might be getting into that soon. There's a couple things you need. Definitely need to be licensed and insured. So you want to make sure you have your business license. You want to make sure that your company has a certificate of insurance. You're going to need like an LLC. And maybe like a business brochure, stuff like that, that you can offer to commercial clients to show them that you are legit and that they are willing to work with you because you have insurance, basically. So really you just need insurance, a business license, and like a EIN, I think is what it's called, which is basically your LLC business license number. Well, not business license number, but your yeah, like your business number, the tax ID number for your business, basically is what I'm saying. That way they can pay you, because a lot of the commercial work is direct deposit and it's on a like net 30 basis. So you end up having to wait around for your money, but because they are doing direct deposit, you have to you get taxed on all that. So you need to legitimize yourself as a corporation or business. Okay. Let me just see what else. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything when it comes to the topics that we're talking about. Okay, this was a good diagram when it came to like understanding the sizing and plumbing, and just kind of letting you know based on the size of pump that you're going to get into, what size bulkheads, what size fittings, filters, pressure washer pump, where that flows to the hose reel, the flow valve, water supply to the house. Like all this just kind of helps you visualize a lot better the game plan for building your own system. And that's most of the sourced material. And then once we built it, we did that first commercial job. And then this is our current logo. It doesn't have the black and gold. I have that version. I have a couple versions of the logo, but basically we went from the original logo, which was, let me pull it up here, $50. I mean, this logo only cost me $50 too, to be honest. But we went from this on our business cards and on our branding to this. So definitely a much more improved logo, more professional, and it kind of just fits the vibe a lot more for pressure washing, you know what I'm saying? So that is the logo that we use on the branding currently. I think we're getting close to everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to close out a lot of this. There's a couple more things when it comes to the vendor agreements. Okay. Basically, if you're trying to get into the commercial work, you need to get these vendor agreements from whether it's property management companies or Roscoe's barking right now. I hear somebody at the door. But yeah, you want to get in with the commercial clients, you need to get these vendor agreements filled out. So you asked Trevor asked what requirements are looking for. Let's see. It says liability insurance. We need workers' comp. You need workers' comp exemption if maybe you work for yourself and you don't have employees. You need a copy of your state license. You need a business tax receipt. And then you need a W-9. And then you got to fill out the form. But yeah, basically once you get in as a vendor with these companies, they can send you work orders and stuff like that. And that's where, that's kind of where our business does majority of our work is commercial property management, because I enjoy being able to make my own schedule. I like that a work order comes through. I'm able to put it on the day that I want. I don't have to meet anybody on the day of. I'm able to get the property cleaned, photos taken, work order sent out, or invoice sent out, and then I'm paid about 30 days later. So you don't get your money right away, but you do get a lot more business out of one client or one person, I would say. One commercial client can yield you, 10 to 30 driveways in a year, whereas one homeowner client is usually one driveway per year, per every other year, So you can definitely level up the business a lot quicker if you go commercial. Anything else that I want to tackle in here? This is our inventory list. If you guys are interested in when it came to building the trailer, this is almost every piece. There's one or two things missing, like the soft wash hose. and a couple other things. But for the most part, oh, look, I have it right here. I just don't have the size for it. But for the most part, this is basically everything that we use. The price, when we purchased it, how many are in use, what product number it is, the notes that I've made on it, what I would upgrade or what I would change, and then the total price. So this is all based on the pricing in 2021. So I meant nowadays. Oh, dang it. I don't have it pulled up. Hold on. But yeah, this is our pricing sheet. Basically, it has the list for all the trailer layout and everything. But for the price, original price back in 2021. So expect all these prices to be much higher. I think this pressure washer isn't $3,500 anymore. It's like $4,000. Same with the hose reels and the hoses and the surface cleaner. Everything's a little bit more expensive. But back when I built it, I mean, it was give or take, 11,000. It's probably a little bit more than that because some things are missing. But just say right under 15 is about what that trailer costs. But I mean, you can make that back in your first year. So if, like I said, you're able to finance it somehow, or you're able to pay half in cash and finance half, like you'll make that money back as long as you invest in yourself. But I'm hoping that you guys gain some inspiration off of this topic and how I got started. We used a $99 pressure washer working at Arby's, making minimum wage, all the way to leveraging it to a 2.5 gallon a minute machine, leveraging that to a $12,000 trailer, and now doing commercial work. So you can start with the bare minimum and making it a side hustle to growing it into a full-time business. It just takes time and effort, investing in yourself, finding the right sourcing materials to do it yourself, the right guidance, and just the willingness to kind of jump off that ledge and take the next step, man. You're not going to get anywhere if you're not willing to take the next step, take the risk, and be willing to fail. There's a lot of failure that came with a lot of this. A lot of things that I wish I would have done differently. We talked about a few of those things, but just getting started is the key, man. If you can get started, you can get there. It may be on a different timeline than everybody else, but you can do it, man. Trust me. I did it. I wanted to be my own boss. I'm at that point now where I feel a lot more comfortable in my own skin, that I'm able to talk about it with y'all. And I'm hoping that I can inspire somebody to start their own business. So that was the main goal of today, is just to kind of familiarize y'all with who I am, Dustin with Black and Gold Pressure Washing, where I got started, where I'm at now, how my business operates, and hopefully that I'm able to make some live content and videos that inspire you guys to do the same thing, man. Be your own boss, whether it's with pressure washing or landscaping or any service-based industry. I'm hoping you guys can gain some knowledge off of these topics and hopefully leverage that into being your own boss, man. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. I appreciate everybody joining. Let me know down in the comments below what is the biggest challenge stopping you guys from starting your own business. Is it finances? Is it mentality? What is it? Let me know down in the comments below, man. I'm interested. So maybe I can help you get over that hump of getting started, because that's my main goal here with this channel. It's not to help the guy who's already started keep going. It's to help the guy who hasn't started yet get going. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I appreciate anybody that stopped by the live. I think we got up to like 10 viewers, which is the best for a live that I've had so far. I see that there's 4 people in here now. And I just want to say thanks to everybody. And hopefully I can keep going live more often, making content for you guys. And I appreciate you stopping by, and catch me on the next job.